What is going on YouTube, and welcome back to another mobile gaming video. Today we are going to be discussing Age of Origins, and in particular the best officers in the games to be using. So big shout out to Age of Origins for sponsoring this video. Let's break this down. Alright, so first and foremost, before we get started, I should probably talk about what officers actually are before we actually go into it, for those of you that don't know. Now, officers are essentially units that you can place within your city to help boost the stats or the development of your entire city in different ways. They're all well, no, they're not all unique, but they all share different types of bonuses, and leveling them up and investing them in both stars and levels will increase the efficacy of their skills and abilities. And it is pivotal to get this right if you want to try and advance your city quickly. Now, officers come in three different forms of rarity. You essentially have a normal, a rare, and what would be considered a legendary type officer. You can see those notated by the color of the borders. You can see we've got purple up here, that would be a legendary. You've got a blue, which would be a rare, and then you've got green, which would be normal. So in addition to this, you've got 4 different subsectors of your city in which you can appoint your officers. But before we break that down, I just want to go in about how you actually go about getting these officers, recruiting them, building up the stars to help unlock additional abilities. So the main way is through the recruitment sector here. You can see you've got either the normal recruit or you've got the elite recruitment. Now you will get 3 free recruitments every single day of the normal recruitment, and each time you use these, it'll give you a chance at unlocking a selection of the officers. Now obviously the elite recruitment offers better tier or legendary type officers, not guaranteed, but it has the chance of dropping them. All I would recommend that as you are collecting your tickets here, your elite recruitment orders and your standard recruitment orders, you want to really hold them up and get 9 of them, because that essentially gives you a free pull. And in a game like this, you might as well try and take advantage of all the benefits that you can get as you can find them. So this recruit officer not only gives you access to officers, it also gives you officer XP and a few other little bonuses, so try to make sure that you spend these throughout the day. Now you can achieve these through purchasing packs, through doing your daily objectives, and so on and so forth, engaging in the various events that are active throughout the game. So let's break this down. What is the most important thing to think about when we're appointing our officers? This is where the hub of the game really takes place. You essentially can assign the officers based on their role within the game to different areas of your city. So you've got Director, Strategy, Drill Master, and Warfare, and those particular officers then will provide your city with various bonuses. We can click on the little cogwheel here, and we can see, for example, what my current officers are providing me with. Which bonuses are they currently providing me with? I've currently got, an extra 15% technology research, gathering speed bonus, oil bonuses, steel gathering bonuses. Okay, so looking at directors, I would say my favorite officer to be using is one that is available relatively early game. It is Doc Gray. The reason I like Doc Gray is because he has the advanced research skill. This one is essentially, this first skill is always set in stone for all of your officers, and then the additional skills that you unlock as you increase the star count of the officers can be applied by you based on the officer skills that you gain in your inventory, essentially. Some of them are automatically applied. Now, advanced research essentially will give us increased or decreased time for our various bits of research. Now, Doc isn't the only person that has these abilities. You've also got Hacker, who has got intermediate research, and you also have, is it Green? I want to say, yeah, sorry, not Green. This one over here. Apologies, not Green. It's It is Green. Apologies. Essentially, all of those officers have the same base ability, but it's a lower level of efficacy. The advanced research essentially has a higher percentage based on the level and the star or the overall mastery of your particular officer. So if you have Doc Gray, which you should get it organically throughout proceeding in the game, developing your city, he will be the best at advancing your research. So I'd recommend putting heavy investment into him. Research in the game essentially unlocks all different kinds of bonuses. It unlocks additional technologies. It lets you gather resources quicker. It lets you increase the attack speed. It lets you increase the speed at which you can recruit all your troops. And because the sheer volume of resources and how long the later tiers of those researches take, I find having a lot of research speed helps. Now, in the second slot, I currently have Medici here, and that's because he increases the gather speed. The gather speed essentially translates to when you're going out into the overworld and you're gathering in your oil or you're gathering in your steel or any of that business, you are able to increase the rate at which you gather it. You can see at the second tier, I've also given him some additional gather steel just because I had that ability available to me. I unlocked it at the 2nd star. You can see third one unlocks at 3-star, fourth one unlocks at 5-star, and the 5th star will unlock something that's known as the breakthrough ability for your legendary or epic level characters. But I'm not going to be discussing the breakthrough skills at this point because that really comes in later in the game. Now, I do like F Medici, but really if you want to think about min-maxing your approach, say you're not actually going out and gathering resources, perhaps all you're doing is focusing on research, for example, then you'd want to go in with Doc Brown and then maybe Hacker. Hacker has the better tier 1 of the the level 1 skill for the research. If you want to try and focus entirely on that, do that. Similarly with Medici over here, who has the gathering speed. I believe we have not this one. Here we go. We have Jesse over here who has the tier 2 of the gathering speed, and then of course you've got the regular character. I believe it is Red Grace. I want to say Red Grace. I believe is this individual here, is it? No, that's Edward, apologies. Here we go. This officer here has the level 1 ability of it, essentially. So you've got 3 choices if you don't happen to unlock the elite or legendary type officers. Maybe you do have the rare or the normal. Just try and stack up those bonuses. I've gone for a bit of a split because I'm going for both at the same time. Let's take a look at the strategy officers then. Now, unfortunately, what I consider to be the best officer right now for strategy, I don't actually have unlocked at the moment, but we can actually go ahead and view it if we go into the officers subsection here. We go into strategy. Over here, you've got Saki. Now, Saki has a unique skill. It's not currently available on any of the other officers in the game. You can see here, fleet unit bonus limit increased by 3,450, which is a significant amount of units. And you can see for every 100 officer mastery, this bonus is increasing by 3,000, which is pretty huge. And in cross-nation battles, this bonus gets multiplied by 1.5 times. Now, that's pretty huge. Having a fleet unit bonus limit of that much is actually massive. It means that when you go out to gather resources, when you go out to send armies out to attack other overworld units, world bosses, attacking other players, gathering resources, engaging in PvE events, you'll be able to send out more troops. This is the only place that you can get it on this one. It makes Saki the number 1 officer, in my opinion, to try and unlock. Unfortunately, I haven't quite unlocked her yet. Big sad. But if you can go ahead and get her, I would try and level her up and increase her skills as soon as possible. Now, my personal favorite for the second one is also another one that I haven't quite unlocked yet. You see, I've only got 2 out of 10 shards, but Major Morgan over here increases the max fleet units. Now, we've already gone over max fleet units is a very, very useful stat to have in this area. Being able to send out more troops is so important. He has the highest tier of it, the advanced command, but we also do have, we have the rare and the normal stage of that, and that's Godfather and Victoria. So Godfather is this individual here. Looks like he's straight out of Mad Max. You can see that he also has the max fleet units. It's just at a lower percentage. So if you don't have the Major Morgan, you can always go after Godfather. And finally, I would say Laureline is a good third here. So she increases recruitment speed. That is the pace at which you can actually recruit new troops to your armies. Obviously, at the higher tiers, it takes a very long time for doing that. So being able to cut this off, in my case, by 10% nearly, is pretty huge. Now, Laureline isn't the only person that can do that. There are 2 others, one at the rare tier, one at the normal tier. So if you don't have her, you've got the option of Sergeant Barney, and then you've got Stephen. So where's Sergeant Barney? Here's Sergeant Barney. He also increases recruitment speed. And then it's Stephen over here, who also decreases or increases the pace at which you can recruit new units. Again, like in our director sector, for the strategy, if you want, you can try and min-max this a little bit more. So when you go to a point, maybe you focus exclusively on increasing recruitment speed. Maybe you focus exclusively on fleet units. So if that's the case, you'd go for Saki and the Major Morgan. Okay. So taking a look at Drill Masters. Now, Drill Master is a little bit different because in the Drill Master subsection, these officers actually have preset skills, essentially. So you do not apply skills that, the 2, 3, and the 4. So they've got a little bit more nuance to them, but they are much harder to unlock. They're much rarer. And all of the tier 1 abilities are kind of unique. You don't really see them anywhere else. Now let's go over here into the officer subsection. I think this is probably the easier way of looking at this. Now, my personal favorite for the drill master is going to be Maria. This is this individual over here. And the reason I like Maria is because she is increasing the attack of all of our troops by a multiplier of 10.32. Now that's pretty huge. A multiplier increasing the attack of the troops is massive. You're not going to get that anywhere else. And that's going to apply to every single troop type in the game. Very, very useful to have. So if you can unlock a Maria, I would highly recommend focusing on her exclusively. Second up, I would say that Catty, who unfortunately I do not have unlocked right now. The reason I like Catty is she actually reduces the attack of all incoming damage by a percentile. So enemy troops that are attacking you are going to deal reduced damage, which essentially is almost the equivalent of you dealing increased damage. Now, she's not the only person that is able to decrease incoming damage. I believe... Is it this one here? No, apologies. It could be Jimmy? Yeah, so Jimmy over here has the camouflage ability. He reduces the attacks of all enemy troops by 3.36%. So if you can't get Catty, potentially think about getting Jimmy. He has the same ability, more or less. It's just to a lower efficacy. Now, the final person that I would recommend is actually going to be Simon. Simon has increased attack power, but it's only for the first 20 seconds. Now, it's pretty huge. You can see he's only level 1 and nearly 2 stars for me right now. But he has nearly 10% power increase. Of course, it's because it's only active for the first 10 seconds, whereas that's almost the same level of attack increase that I'm getting from my Maria, who is level 8. So she's got more investment in her levels, and yet the benefit is nearly the same. So if you can't unlock Simon, because of course he is a legendary character, you are actually able to use Layla instead, which is this skill here. She also gives you the same bonus, essentially. It's just to a lower efficacy. First 20 seconds of the battle, we've got a 3.255% increase. So you can really see the difference here in the power. She's a rare character, gives 3.255. He is an epic or legendary character. He's giving 9.5% at the same level. So it's a massive, massive boost that you get from having these epic and legendary characters, okay? And finally, let's take a look at the warfare subsection. Now, this is the largest officer pool that you can actually get and appoint officers to, the largest subsection of officers. So the more you get, the better off you're going to be. But it still means that the officers that you choose are still very, very important. Now, my favorite personally is Zeus. And the reason I like Zeus is because he increases the damage that you deal to all troops. This isn't just increasing the attack. This is increasing the damage that you deal. So the higher your base damage is, the more benefit that you will actually get from Zeus. He is super, super useful. Increasing all damage across the board is massively important. My second favorite would be Alexandria. Now, I don't have her unlocked, 4 out of 10, but her special ability is decrease the damage we take from all troops, similarly how we were talking about in the last round with Catty. Alexandria has the exact same effect. She's decreasing incoming damage from troops. That is so very, very useful. Helps you keep that longevity. It's almost the same as you actually dealing more damage. And finally, my last slot, I would say, is Tifa. Tifa is also super useful. You could just as easily swap this with Alexandria right now. She increases the damage output of all your troops, applies across the board. Now, this increases attack. It's not the same as increasing damage like we saw from Zeus. Zeus is better with the higher the damage number, that you're multiplying that damage output. She's just increasing base offense and stuff like that, which is still good, which is why I still recommend getting her. If you don't have Tifa, there are other options available to you. Very early on game, you are able to get quite a few shards of Butterfly here. She has the same overall effect. It's just, again, to a lower efficacy. Doesn't quite increase the same amount of damage. And then I believe you've got Rattlesnake as well, which I believe is... Where is Rattle? There he is. Rattlesnake also gives you the same type of bonus, ladies and gentlemen. So that's how I would like to do it. Again, if you want to try and stack all those stats, maybe you just go in for complete offense. I would always recommend using Zeus if you have him, because that multiplier is just so beneficial. And then just stack all your offense capabilities on top. But generally speaking, you're going to have more officers than you know what to do with when it comes to appointing them. If we just check here. As your commander level increases, you'll be able to have additional units. You can see you can have up to 6 officers here, so you've got plenty of choice here. I would still recommend trying to focus on that damage output, though, if you can. Alright guys, that's going to about do it today for our overview of the officers in the game and the favourite officers that I like to use. I hope it was useful to you. If it was, please leave a like and consider subscribing to your boy Scribe. And until the next video, peace out and big love.